Ladies and gents, welcome to reaction. This is Rise of Legends review, IT edition. Okay, this is my channel SsethTzeentach. Yeah, today I wasn't gonna make any video because it's my birthday. I'm like, what the hell, not today. But then I saw this, like, might as well. So yeah, this Rise of Nations, Rise of Legends. I remember Rise of Nations. I used to play that a lot, long time ago, like a really lot. Like that's the one strategy style game that I played a lot. But this is, I'm guessing it's a sequel to that because I'm pretty sure the old one was 2001, 2003. This is 2006. So this is the sequel to it. So yeah, let's see what changes they made. Because Rise of Nations was really fun. Obviously, it wasn't much of a balanced one. Because after a certain point, you reach like an advanced stage. And after that, everything just like, yeah, you have nukes and everything just, yeah. And also they had like stealth bombers. They were really OP. Because I'm pretty sure, you know, first of all, they had jet planes. As soon as they have jet planes, they'll bomb the shit out of you, right? But then you have this like, you know, anti-aircraft weapons that you can use it. So you can defend your place pretty fine. That after a certain level, they'll reach like stealth bomber level. And after that, there's like, yeah, you can't defend against stealth bomber. They'll just send 5, 6 stealth bomber and your whole place is fucked. And then there are nukes and yeah. So let's watch this one. Remember, if you like my reaction, don't forget to subscribe. So I know we start videos to react tomorrow. Check out the reaction. There's a link in the description. And yeah, let's watch it.
Once upon a time, younger me was visiting Latin America. While there, I stumbled upon a bootleg video game store. To put things into perspective, I paid a total of $5 US. In exchange, I got Titan Quest, burnt on a blank CD, Russian Half-Life 2, which I finished without understanding a single word, Russian Serious Sam 2, which was actually just malware, but also I got this little disc containing not Rise of Nations, but the sci-fi fantasy steampunk spin-off Rise of Legends, released 2006 and covered 17 years later, which by personal standards is a quick and timely review. Rise of Legends is a game I hold close to my heart. First of all, I don't actually have a disc anymore, so I torrented a copy, installed it, found out it was entirely in Russian, which I should have guessed from the installer, looking the way it is, downloaded an English copy instead, and that told me to insert disc 1. So I copied the executable from the Russian copy to the English copy, and finally, it launched. Moral of the story.
Yeah, I had a problem about like that with Stalker, I think. Because I bought a new 5.1 system, I don't know, like, you know, decade ago or something, right? And you know, Z906 Logitech, yeah, that was it. So, and I wanted to play it with 5.1, but somehow Stalker didn't run 5.1. So I need to use some kind of an OpenAI source of it, but then the audio was the issue, so I had to download English package or something. That was a fucking big annoyance, right? Nowadays I wouldn't do that shit. I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'm not gonna play. But at that time I had patience. So, you know, I remember all that, doing all that shit. Like, Stalker was so old game that support of it wasn't that good. But still, it was such a good game that it reached at a certain level. So popular that Stalker 2 is gonna be a thing.
Graft shit together until it works. Speaking of which, this game runs perfectly on Windows 10, flawlessly, impeccably, and I can literally see the pixels for the pre-rendered cutscenes. Anyway, setting. We're on some planet. Which one? I don't know, because video game bootleggers in Rio typically don't give you a manual. So, I'm kind of just making this up as I go along. An alien ship breaks up in orbit and crash lands onto the planet, and that's all the background you get. Now, 99% of this game is the campaign, which is mainly what I'm going to cover. So let's start by playing the Vinci. Who are the Vinci? In this world, there are no humans. Only Italians. Accordingly, everyone is Italian, everything is industrialized, and tensions are running high. This game is pasta-punk, ravioli core, if you will. You play as Giacomo, an inventor from the city-state of Miana, governed by his brother Petruzzo. Together with General Carlini, your army sets out to investigate an alien crash site. Seeing your approach, a rival known as the Doge blasts the mountainside using an alien weapon. Petruzzo throws you to safety, but in doing so, he becomes a pancake. As you watch Petruzzo marinate in his own ragu, you vow to get vengeance on the Doge. The first two missions serve as a hands-on tutorial to get acquainted with the core mechanics. You control any number of units, tactics matter, and each of your heroes have unique abilities on preset cooldowns. Winning the game involves conquering a rival's cities, while holding on to your own, which you have to manually expand by building specific districts. You have two main resources, timonium and gold. Timonium, similar to cobalt, is extracted from the ground by Congolese miners, who do it simply for the love of extracting rare earth metals to fuel the Italian war machine. Gold is obtained by building merchant districts. Each one allows you to make a single caravan, which will automatically trade with the nearest neutral settlement. The longer you trade, the larger your trade deficit, which you can use to forcibly buy out the entire neutral dwelling. This is the peaceful option. You pay gold, the price of which goes down depending on how much you've traded already, and in exchange we get a functional dwelling and all the troops defending it. This system makes sense, except in the second campaign, where for some reason I could buy out an entire nest of carnivorous salamanders, which goes to show, doesn't matter how evolved you are, you're not immune to the free market. There's also industrial districts, which give you mutually exclusive prototypes, and military districts, which are exactly as they sound. They increase your population cap, allowing you to take shit over using the less peaceful option. This involves breaking shit until you start taking it over. If you're very impatient, or there's a tactical advantage from doing so, you can click the number of...
You would assume that people, like, it's a game, so they will always choose a violent option, but there was a trend recently, I don't know how recently, but in YouTube, like any game, like certain creators, like how to, finish this game without killing anyone, like, really peaceful option type of thing. And I'm guessing that rose up from Metro games, because Metro games has this kind of a thing. Like, if you don't kill people, that's the actual canon ending, good ending. Actually, the first Metro game's canon ending is not a good ending. So in first Metro game, just kill anybody who wants. But Last Light, you have to be more pessimistic. I'm guessing the Exodus is also the same way. Otherwise, I guess someone dies in the end if you don't do it like that. But yeah. But there was also a thing, like, people tried, like, can you, like, let's play it realistically. In real world, you wouldn't just kill anything that moves. So how to play it more peacefully as you can.
That appears in the center to forcibly storm the dwelling, taking immediate control. This is incredibly expensive, as you sacrifice an equal number of grunts, but hey, you get to see physics particle effects as everything breaks apart. This shit looked photorealistic when I saw it for the first time. I was thinking, damn, I wonder how crazy video games will be in the future. Little did I know, I had Overwatch 2 paid PvE Season 1 to look forward to. Originally, Giacomo starts on a horse, but in Mission 2, you get a considerable upgrade to your vehicle. Get into Eva, Giacomo, or Carlini. We'll have to fight again. After attempting or succeeding a mission, you get taken to the overland map, and time progresses by one turn. Here, you can choose your next move, spend experience on upgrading heroes, army points on buying units, research points to unlock new units, and economy points on districts for occupied territory. The last part is really interesting, because when you attack territories adjacent to your own, reinforcements will pour in from surrounding territories, depending on the number and type of district.
Okay, as I can see in this fucking soundbar, why is this mic picking up dog barking in the street? That was the whole point of this mic. About this dynamic mic, so environment voice doesn't come. Like, what the fuck?
Anyway, moving on, we make an assault on Parada, who are being blockaded by the Doja's Sky Crusher, a gigantic surface-to-air battery. This is an issue for the faction, since their main export is a paper-thin aircraft based off a sketch by Da Vinci. We counter his wicked machinations by walking, and win the support of Parada. More importantly, we win the support of Lenora, Parada captain, and the person who's gonna crush Giacomo's head between her thighs in the post-game credits.
Maybe. On one condition.
Or what?
And when you finally have the Doge, make sure he suffers.
I fucking love this cutscene. Each time there's something pre-rendered on screen, it's always hype. Next, we have a pressing issue. Two of them, actually. Don Sclario and Lord Rocco. These act as the puppets of a Doge, with Sclario providing financial support from the western city of Foligno, while Rocco is the key supplier of timonium to the north. Before we can assault the Doge's capital of Venucci, we need to sever these sources of support. Honestly, I don't think this affects the campaign, and I don't care. I care more about the fact that these guys steal steal territory every single turn. So we're gonna make a beeline for Rocco. On the way there, we conquer Condottieri Castle and unify the Condottieri. In the real world, this word means mercenaries fighting for Italian states. In Rise of Legends, this means unhinged, unwashed, feral Italians. These are tribalistic primitives who eat their pasta completely raw, snapping the pasta bone to drink the delicious marrow inside. After that, we enter Monte Laguna, which is under siege by self-driving clockwork. New Tesla update dropped, and unfortunately, it's misidentifying Italians as Sicilians. We gotta take down the fabricators, and subsequently, whatever this is. Next,
Hold up there. Those Sicilians don't, don't say that they're Italians, is that it? Right, I get it, Sicily is an island, but aren't they Italian themselves? I don't know. It's like...
We go to the same region where Petruzzo was murdered. To pay respects? No, to do a timed mining objective, but mainly so I can progress time by another turn. Why? Because I've been stacking research points to unlock the Juggernaut, and I've been stacking army points to fill my army with Juggernauts. It's worth explaining at this point that larger units can trample smaller units, and a fucking tank is significantly larger than most units, when half my damage is just
Why are you spending all your money on juggernauts? Because big tank. That is it. That's very short, very short presentation, isn't it?
Right-clicking past the enemy, I got a pretty good deal. Anyway, on to Rocco's capital. This is the same place we get Distruzio, who is simultaneously the best and the worst hero in the entire game. Aside from Giacomo, he's the only person with a wide radius heal, and he's also the only hero with a small, negligible chance at throwing the wrong grenade. He's my favorite hero because there's literally nobody else who's managed to make me rage quit and restart a scenario multiple times, and yet I still pick him every time. The mission itself is pretty easy because Distruzio's forces take...
Oh, I love that. I've said that in many times in many different games. Like, you should have a random factor type of character, right? That keeps things spicy. I guess that's the same thing with, I think, Warhammer game. I forgot the name. Total War, right? There's also a character, like, if any game like this has that kind of a random factor type of, like, even in the Bethesda game studio games, you choose the follower that is, like, volatile a bit. This is always fun seeing like that. I mean, there's not much of, details about that in BGS game. All companion kind of feel the same, but yeah, still.
Take most of the heat and buy you time to build free juggernauts and pound Rocco's base into oblivion. One puppet down, one more to go. We head south for Corbinile Mines, which have already been captured by Scladio. Some maps don't have a specific scenario or objective, instead playing like a standard skirmish map in single player. The difference being that I spawn in with 2 juggernauts, which means I right-click his base and come back to a victory screen. We assault Foligno, which has the gimmick of being built on a mountain, forcing us to slowly travel economy on a zeppelin to actually get there.
Yeah, this makes me think, like, imagine like 1,000 years ago, somehow you can time travel and just go there with barely any soldiers, but with a tank. Like, how big of an empire would you conquer just with one tank? And assuming you have all the fuel you need as well, right? If you have all that shit, like, how big of an empire would you conquer? Like, damn, a tank makes all the difference.
Along the way, we can also rescue some captured prisoners, which include Battaglion, a hero who can one-shot cities. Despite this insane power level, freeing him is completely optional. You see, to finish a mission, you only need to complete the main objective. Bonus objectives are take it or leave it. You might miss them and not even know what exactly you missed. That's why every time I do a mission, I peek the quest log. If I see any random question marks in the bonus section, I know there's something out there. 2 Stooges gone, now we just have to deal with the Doge, which is harder than it sounds.
So basically games like this are adding more of an RPG element to it, right? I mean, I don't know how to characterize most game because some game that feels like an RPG open world game might not be falling under RPG basically. So I don't know how to say it, but basically, your average RPG open world game, right? There's always like optional things you can do, optional objectives that usually you don't do, who cares, right? So this is basically like that. I like that they introduced that because Rise of Nations was not like that. Compared to this, Rise of Nations is very simplistic.
We took Foligno, Doge took Monte Laguna. I tried retaking it, but his walker is insanely OP, so I reloaded and took Celea Forest instead. Doge pushes again and takes Corbinile Mines, but this time I learned how to properly micro my troops. Also, I had free Juggernauts. This may have helped. We push on to Dursey, which is a timed prison break scenario. Also, my recording software broke for like 20 minutes, and it sounds like this.
I have confirmed that some of the Doge's own magistrates are being held here. They must have disagreed with his latest policies.
Basically, we have to rescue a
Well, that happens to me a lot. Sometimes, I don't know. I think, is he using OBS? Because I think OBS has that issue. In the past, certain videos are recorded and the audio just goes like that. Like, what the fuck?
bunch of magistrates he's imprisoned to loosen his political grip on Venucci, and we have to do it before reinforcements show up and murder us. Afterwards, we take Ranconi, which is only accessible by bridge. The Doge attempts to block our advance by sending a truck of peace, which we counter with a tank of love and tolerance. Finally, we invade Venucci, take out his land Leviathan, capture his Doge cannon, and point it directly.
I like how Seth is basically like your Fox News. Maybe Fox News is too extreme, but any propaganda news of an authoritarian state, right? Making everything seem so good, right? I mean, if you've seen some of the, like, you know, North Korean news that translated in English, right? This is exactly how it sounds like. This is so good.
At his troops, but the Doge is nowhere to be found.
The Doge. Where is he? Where's his army? A child could have won this battle.
Carlini gives you the dire news.
These look like tracks from the Doge's hammer. They are. But we captured it. When did...
He built more than one. We captured a decoy. The real one is headed east. He drew us out, Giacomo.
We've been tricked. The real Doge cannon is heading east towards Miana, and that's the end of the first campaign. Let's start the second. Spoiler, we didn't make it on time. Miana has been deleted from existence. Inexplicably, after committing Italian Nagasaki, the Doge's army marches east through the desert kingdoms of the Alin, and we set out in hot pursuit. Speaking of hot,
Oh, I like the, you know, campaigns progress with the stories like that. It's not just one campaign. So this game looks good. But seriously, his actual name is Doge. I thought that was just Seth making fun or something. Somebody should create a mod that, you know, changes the face to that dog, right? The meme dog, Doge. That would be so good.
We're not built for this environment. We need shelter, and we need it fast. So we decide to take the help of a mystic who is definitely not going to betray us.
Even the noblest of people can be corrupted by power, Giacomo.
5 minutes later, the mystic betrays us. Luckily, we're saved by Ari, Giacomo's childhood friend, and taken to the court of Azar Harif, where we get shelter and a bit of backstory.
You sure seem to know your way around.
I visited here a long time ago.
Visited? Try ran away. Took us 4 months to find him and we could barely drag him home.
Giacomo!
I
He's ripped.
liked it here.
I bet you did.
Lenora's not happy about the desert, but even less happy about Ari, and she leaves, despite the fact
Look
that
at those
I only
abs.
have eyes for her. I already know Ari's only desire for Giacomo is to birth a child that's slightly higher up on the Alin caste system. I have no interest in her wicked plans. Let's get some things out of the way. Who are the Alin? They're dark, swarthy, Arabic, desert-dwelling wizards with cities that float in the sky. They summon
There you go. There you go. That's a Seth video. If something like that doesn't happen, this is not a Seth video.
elementals from circles of sand, fire, and glass. As there are no humans in this world, we must consider the next logical
Oh, okay,
alternative.
it's that
The
SCP
Alin
thing.
are Sicilians, and they're currently having a problem with a dark Alin. Basically, more alien debris crash-landed deep into the desert. Mine broke the genie Sawu, who created creatures of dark glass to overrun Mezakesh, the greatest Alin city ever built, which has ever since been buried under a mile of sand. But ever since the Doge passed through, promising to improve the situation, the Dark Alin have awoken in full force. Our only hope to stop whatever the Doge is planning is to find Mezakesh.
Your Highness, please! We must listen to...
Seriously, look at this. This is 2006
catch.
game, man.
Your Highness.
Look at this shit. Look at the cuts and everything. How lean is she in this game? Like, this is ridiculous. I didn't know 2006 game featured something like this, right? Because, you know, body physics or details became too real a thing in past few years. I didn't know this was the case in old games.
Please, we must listen to...
What?
Dark Alin in the city!
But before that, we have a city to defend. This mission serves as the Alin tutorial, and it does a pretty good job of it. What's never mentioned, however, is that Giacomo's walker has been upgraded. His EVA unit is now equipped with a sunscreen. This is critical to the plot. Also, this campaign has a very annoying mechanic. Every time you kill any one of the 3 genies on a map, several turns later, they'll respawn randomly anywhere inside their territory. That is a problem because there's 3 of them and 1 of you. So the only valid tactic is to rush the bottom of the map as fast as possible and cut them off, funneling them into a choke where their numbers won't matter. Failure to do so results in your map looking like this. First, we take the Southern Dunes, where we get assaulted every night by waves of salamanders.
Holy shit, this game is good, man. All the elements that he's describing, how the story is progressing, how the lore is there, like, would you even know all this lore while playing it if you're not paying attention? Like, you know, watching Maxer and Seth videos can, you know, give you this idea like, oh, this is so easy, you just understand story, but that's not the case, right? Someone like Seth and Maxer who has experience basically in, you know, checking lore like that would know this, but would an average gamer know all this lore or just plays the game for the sake of playing it? Because the lore feels really good. I like how it's progressing. Every campaign is just escalate things, right? And that genie element, like if you kill it, like it's just random factor, it will attack. Like that's so good, man. This game has replayability already. I can see it.
Salamanders, which stop
Much better
during
than
the
the
day,
Rise of
where you have a
original.
chance to attack their lairs and kill the BBW queen salamanders that keep spawning them. Then we murder the same genie that tricked us at the start and push on to the nest of dragons. Our objective here is to free a bunch of dragons before they're corrupted. However, the first dragon you free is so powerful he can free the rest on his own. Mission design in this game is either win by a hair's length or win by starting the mission. There is no in between. I had to pivot north because
Is there any game where dragons are like okay rather than not being OP? Basically, dinosaurs that can fly and can spit out fire is for us just too much, right? In our imagination, you know, dragons are the best thing.
I was getting my shit pushed in, and the next mission was definitely more of a former. You have to hold out and defend a single oasis for 18 minutes while controlling 2 players at once, Giacomo from the south and Politori, a former Doge chemical warfare specialist from the north. The oasis has so little health that if anything so much as sneezes on it, it's gone. The last minute features a glass dragon that can one-shot the thing, and generally, it's complete and utter chaos. I push on to a generic skirmish map. A genie respawns right in front of us, who we proceed to murder in another generic skirmish.
By the way, I don't want to pause too much, but the best dragon game I played involving dragon and killing dragons is Dragon Age Inquisition. Not Skyrim, definitely not Skyrim. Are you kidding me? In Skyrim, we are God. We can kill anything in just one shot. But Dragon Age Inquisition, I remember playing as a warrior very early on. Hinterlands was the first map. Right? There's a dragon there. I mean, I think there's more than one dragon, right? But there's a dragon there. Hinterlands, right? Yeah, there's a dragon there that if you can approach it slowly, it can see you. It's like there's no cover, right? And if you're a warrior with shield and with certain specs, you can basically, you know, defend it forever, even though your party has died a long time ago. You're not going to kill it because it's a very early game, but you can try. And I did kill it very early game, but it took me, I don't know, 2-3 hours real time just trying to kill it. That was the best experience of killing a boss I ever got. Even though people hated that game, apparently Inquisition, I don't know why, compared to the other Dragon Ages, sucked or something, I don't know, but that was so good.
Then we take the Brightlands, which turns out to be a completely useless red herring. Before, I have to fight another skirmish to push back another genie. I push forward to the Fool's Path, which instead says Calahi's Desert in a loading screen. I feel drunk because I realize half the maps in this game don't even match the name of the mission. I load in, and to my horror, it's another generic skirmish. Luckily, the one after that is a real mission, and also our main objective. We need to subdue and capture the Sand Warden Declaw, who's currently going apeshit. To do this, we're going to beat the shit out of him. Unfortunately, the Dark Alin have the same idea, and it's a race to the finish. It's a battle of domestic violence, and only the stronger backhand will prevail. We're gonna show Declaw the meaning of love in an Eastern European household. Declaw provides us with one of the keys to Mezakesh. Now, we just need the key of fire to the north. We proceed with the best mission of the entire game. Giacomo smokes that gas station weed, which inevitably has been laced with PCP.
Intruso! Where are you? I'm lost.
This entire mission is just Giacomo tweaking out from the effects of a dark cloud.
The salamander is such a curious creature. I must find more of them.
You must escort him and keep him safe as he
He's
battles
fucking lost.
tactile hallucinations and
He's
metabolizes
flying
the
in the
corrupted
clouds,
chronic.
man.
I've recovered from my madness.
We then free Andromelech, a glass magic
That's what
user,
everybody
and
feels who
subsequently
do
rescue
marijuana,
the
apparently.
Fire Warden Damanur. With both keys, we get access to Mezakesh, and then I rage quit the game anywhere from 20 to 30 times. Reasons may include Glass Golem boss fight that one-shots your heroes, Glass Golem boss fight that goes through damage immunity, Glass Spider boss fight that stuns your entire army, for which I had to learn the specific spawn conditions, so I could bait the screen-wide stun and sacrifice only half of my army instead. And of course,
Okay, is
every
that a-
time Destruzio fumbles a grenade.
Why?
Which is often. However, we persevere and defeat Sawu, who joins us after being freed from the alien system.
You know what I really hate? Like, any game basically makes something so bad. Like, even if you're at best and mentally best and character-wise best, you still have to learn something like a spawn point and some kind of a tweak, or I don't know how to say it, right? Like some exploit just in order to kill something. That just pisses me off. Like, using an exploit shouldn't be a thing, right? I mean, if you do it, great, but you should be able to, kill any enemy normally if you're best at it, right? Yeah, that just pisses me off. Like, why do I have to die 5 times just to exploit something?
See Hypno. If only it were that simple.
My dear Giacomo, how have you been? I brought a toy for you to play with. Enjoy.
Luckily, Lenora's brought reinforcements. Together, while dodging payloads of insta-kill shells from across the map, you charge Vidoja's army and destroy his cannon. In exchange, you get this sick-ass cutscene where Giacomo wins by repairing a clock and pulling copper wire.
That's all it needs.
Just as we achieve victory, an alien ship appears overhead to repo Vidoja's alien weapon. And that's the start of the third campaign. We follow the
this
ship to the
third
jungle,
one.
and there we find a couple of jungle dwellers who have been forcibly boosted by a couple tech levels. The Kawassal represent the
this, Aztec?
hybridization between the biology of the natives and the advanced technology of the aliens. If we take their appearance into account and the time period this game was released, the natives are basically Jaffa warriors from Stargate SG-1.
Woman, be silent.
That is not an answer, Tilk.
Come on, they even have staff weapons. Just like evidence of Thermite found at Ground Zero. This is probably just a coincidence. Anyway, we do the first mission and a cutscene plays, where
Evidence
Giacomo
of
and
what?
Carlini even have staff weapons. Just like evidence of Thermite found at Ground Zero.
Wait a minute, is that some kind of joke or something real? I
This
don't
is
know. I can't
probably
even tell.
just a coincidence. Anyway, we do the first mission and a cutscene plays, where Giacomo and Carlini defeat the Moon God, one of the 4 alien generals masquerading as theological beings on this planet.
like Egyptian
Unfortunately,
god.
another
Okay.
god shows up, and Carlini starts a monologue. So I immediately knew he was about to die.
I've been a soldier for 43 years. I've had my leg blown off. I've served in 2 wars. I've killed more men than I can count.
Wait a minute, 43 years and served in 2 wars? I'm guessing there must be a really long wars. I don't know.
I've never backed down from anything in my life.
I'm sure as hell not gonna start today.
He's gonna die, right?
The death god Zin kills Carlini and takes the alien device stolen by the Doge. Wait a minute, wasn't that device taken by the alien ship in the last cutscene? Apparently no. Sorry for the confusion. I had to watch this multiple times to figure out that Giacomo shot down that aircraft off screen. Also, Giacomo took a full hit of the alien device juice. He can now convert base metals into AliExpress quartz crystals. Using this newfound power, he's spliced his mech into the dead body of the moon god.
March out at sunrise.
Our objective is getting justice for my homeboy Carlini by killing the remaining 3 gods. So we do exactly that. We murder Zil, the sun god to the south. We murder Shock, the storm goddess to the north. There are unique missions here and there, but for the sake of time, I'm skipping over them. Except the cargo escort mission, which is completely rigged and designed to give you an aneurysm. The Kawassal are quite fun to play, mainly because of their complete...
Yeah. Escort missions in any game is abomination. I hate it. Right? People play Fallout 4 and play those Brotherhood of Steel and whatever those escort missions. I never touch that shit. Like, go, fuck you.
different to any other faction. They don't use gold because they don't trade. This is replaced instead by energy, which is produced by nuclear reactors. They can turbocharge any dwelling to print units faster, and their basic barracks is actually a flying troop carrier. But nothing compares to my favorite unit, the Dick Flattening Sphere, which has the strongest trample in the entire game, deleting entire screens worth of troops just by moving over them. Finally, we reach the last mission of Rise of Legends, stopping the Death God Zin. If he isn't stopped within 60 minutes, he will activate the alien Skype call and destroy life as we know it. But his position is fortified by free barriers, which have to be destroyed on both sides. All the forces, heroes, and upgrades you've acquired during the previous campaigns will be there to support you for this final assault. With the Vinci on the left and the Alin on the right, you have to simultaneously control both armies and push past their defenses, which may include mechanized guerrillas, until the barriers shut down, at which point Giacomo's colossal forces break through the center. Completing the mission rewards you with this cutscene. Giacomo, realizing the Skype call has already connected, jumps forward with a $2 microphone and screams racial slurs, the intensity of which explode the relay. At first I thought, where's Giacomo? Obviously he survived, right? It wasn't until the cutscene was over that I finally registered that he's dead. It's a very somber ending, and I don't like to grieve for too long. So I rewrote the ending to suit my own headcanon. Yes, Giacomo did sacrifice himself, but plot twist. Same day we defeated the Doge, conveniently, Lenora was ovulating. This could only mean one thing. Rise of Legends 2 would be a real-time strategy where you must both conquer the battlefield and morning sickness. Campaigns become increasingly more difficult as you swell and become increasingly more pregnant. Available now on Xbox Game Pass. In summary, Rise of Legends gets a floating Rubik's Cube out of however many men are currently inside. It's great, I love it, and I enjoyed it just as much as I did an entire decade ago. Why did I cover this? Because they're memories and I don't want them lost to the sands of time. Unfortunately, the publisher is Microsoft, and we've already made contact. They don't give a shit. It's not distributed or sold anywhere, making this game effectively abandonware. Now, I wouldn't want to directly...
That's why Seth is really good. He don't give a shit. I think he just remembered Rise of Legends. He's like, let's just fucking play this game. If I'm gonna play this, I might as well make a video about it. That's it. No sponsors, no nothing. Microsoft don't care, right? Microsoft probably doesn't even sell this game anymore anywhere, right? And he's like, fuck it, I like this, I'm gonna make it. And I love it because I played Rise of Nations original, and it was good, but I guess at the time I didn't know any better game. I was just playing it, but compared to all this, it was shit. This is really good. It actually has some twist to it, random factor to it. I love that, right? But I don't like the end boss thing where you have to destroy certain wall here and there just to fight the main thing. Any game that has this kind of a hassle, like this, you have to destroy this and this is their life essence or whatever, or just like this is where it gets power from, and then you have to do multiple things just in order to kill something, and it feels like a big thing, so it must be a main boss. Like, no, this is too overdone.
Link to a download page for this game for obvious reasons. However, I can't possibly moderate my entire comment section. So if, hypothetically, somebody showed up and linked the entire game, and a bunch of people just upvoted it to the top comment, then what could I possibly do to stop this? So please, don't do that, because each time you commit piracy of an abandoned IP that's not making any money for the parent company, there's a DMCA lawyer out there who gets an additional kidney stone that he has to shoot out of his burning urethra. As always, more content to come, so stay tuned. A warm thanks to the many members of the Merchants Guild generously funding and bankrolling these neutral settlement acquisitions. This episode is brought to you by Pastificio Centoni. This is not a joke. You're not dissociating. The original reason I made this video was to plug a pasta sponsor, because I thought it was the funniest shit in the world that an Italian B2B pasta manufacturer decided one day that contacting me was the best use of their resources. Keep your money. The joke has paid for itself. You're all truly wonderful. Have a good one.
Pasta sponsored Italian. You made a joke about pasta, bone and bone marrow. I'm like, yeah, that's as slur can get. Is it all just music, nothing else? It's just music. Yeah. Pasta, bone and bone marrow. I'm like, yeah, there you go. That's for you. Yeah, the game is really, really, really good compared to Rise of Nations. I don't know beyond that. I don't have much experience with games like this, right? I don't know, somebody's like, what you talking about? Rise of Legends sucks compared to this and that. But yeah, so far to me it looks good, right? And I don't think they knew that people are going to like it or something. So certain plot holes here and there, I mean, expected. But yeah, it feels fun. And I like how progression from campaign to campaign changes and evolves the story that way. Especially this desert setting comes out of nowhere. So that was great. Yeah, right, people, that was Rise of Legends review, IT edition. Okay, well, channel SsethTzeentach. If you like my reaction, don't forget to subscribe. Check out other Seth reaction I did. There's a link in the description. And yeah, I'll see you next time.